Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our new edition of Big Brother 27 live feed spoilers. We are here with what is a pretty jam-packed video today. We have golden envelopes. We have Rachel getting slimed, apparently. We've got Jimmy campaigning, more of Rylie making everybody as uncomfortable as humanly possible.
Especially Katherine. We're going to get into some of that because it's always tough watching this on this show. It's not the first time that something like this has happened where somebody's into somebody really deeply and the other person is just not really as into them, where it's like, can I have a kiss? No. It's so uncomfortable to watch. And it's, at what point do you have production actually step in and be like, maybe stop doing this or just let it happen? And we know with Big Brother production, they let almost everything happen because it is a social experiment.
Yeah, we're going to have a conversation about that because I think this is high time that Big Brother needs to start having these conversations with themselves regarding all of this. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about. If you guys missed the video yesterday, we are now doing these updates late afternoon, early evening, so you know what to expect here moving forward, especially during the week. But before we get into anything more here, be sure to hit that subscribe button because, you know, we are getting ever closer to 75,000 subscribers. That is that big 3/4 of the way to 100,000 milestone that we are so excited about.
Yeah.
And like subscribing, it's the number one way to help us get there. I mean, it's also the number one way just to make sure you don't miss any of these updates because fingers crossed, we're in for a pretty eventful week because that is exactly what it has been so far this season.
Absolutely. And by subscribing, you're also getting a chance to check out our Dexter content. We're covering Twisted Metal right now. Alien Earth is coming up. Only Murders in the Building. All kinds of great stuff here at the channel. And also, if you want to talk to us further about Big Brother, you can head over to our Patreon. I'll leave a link for you below and chat with us over there as well.
Thank you guys for your support. Like, we really do appreciate that. All right, so first and foremost, let's talk a little bit just about the state of the vote and where things are as of Tuesday evening here, because if you guys missed it yesterday, Jimmy is now on the block because Keanu used the veto on himself.
Yeah.
A move that has a lot of opinions, to say the least. And Jimmy, I mean, I will give him credit for this. Like, he is trying. Like, he's trying very hard. He's campaigning. He's doing just about whatever he can. And this is Tuesday. Like, we still have 48 hours here. I cannot imagine what he is going to try to pull in that time.
Yeah, he's really busting his behind to try to get those votes locked up and do his best. I mean, yeah, there's still the blockbuster to play and all that, but he's doing the best that he can to try to secure stuff before then, just in case.
Yeah, here's the problem. Here's the situation that Jimmy is kind of sort of in after all of this, is that it's clear he has Rachel, which he's got a really fun relationship with. It feels like he's got Ashley, and we have a lot more to talk about Ashley in this video. But then you kind of get into this great unknown a little bit where Will has kind of sort of worked with him. You've got Ava, you've got some other people that are kind of sort of possibilities, but then he needs people from this other group. And this is the other group that is like Vince, Zach, Lauren, Morgan. You can probably put Katherine in there. You can put whoever wins the blockbuster. It's a lot of people. He just does not have the numbers right now.
No, and he's really going to have to put the work in with that group. And I mean, he could, but it's going to be a long haul, which is why it's really good that he has started his campaign now.
Yeah, and first and foremost, Jimmy is not being completely oblivious to his past mistakes. Like, he talked about this with Rachel, where he sort of has acknowledged, okay, you know what, maybe I did play all sides of the house a little too much. Maybe I was too messy. I did things that made myself a target. You know, he had a conversation with Kelly where Kelly was just sort of giving them the, you know, how does it feel, Jimmy, now that you're actually on the block and you're experiencing what I did?
Yeah.
And he's gone to Vince. And here's the thing about Jimmy's conversation with Vince, which happened not that long after recording this. He's lied a lot in this conversation. He has said, all right, Vince, if you're on my side, if you're on my team, you know, you don't have to worry about me. You don't have to worry about Rachel. It's all going to be fine with Rachel. It's all going to be fine with Ashley. He is just out here saying things and just kind of hoping that it sticks.
Yeah.
I I admire the hustle. I don't think that Vince believes the hustle at all, but I admire the hustle.
Yeah, I admire the hustle. Vince should not believe anything that's coming out of Jimmy's mouth, and I don't think that he does.
No, I just think that this is a situation where if Mickey is going to really stick her neck out and nominate somebody like Jimmy,
Mhm.
like she wants Jimmy to go in this situation. And Morgan and Jimmy both know, I mean, sorry, Kelly and Jimmy, they both know at this point, they've even talked about it, that if Rylie is on the block with either one of them, Rylie is staying and they're going. I
Right.
mean, this house's obsession with Rylie is something I will still never understand, but that's the facts here.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's really, really wild. And at this point, it kind of does feel like, okay, are we in a situation here where it might take some sort of miracle to save Jimmy? Could it take something in a magical golden envelope that has been bestowed to Rachel, Jimmy's close ally in the game?
I know. And I mean, if Big Brother production, I mean, allegedly, possibly, oh, they have put things in play that have saved people that they would like to see stay in the game. That's my theory, tinfoil
Yeah.
hat. So if they really want him to stay in the game, and Rachel is the ally who ended up getting voted to get slimed and all this other stuff that's happened to her, that there might be some sort of power that's then been put into this envelope. As of this recording,
Yeah.
we don't know what's in the envelope.
Yeah, we don't. And that's the part of this that's curious, where it's like, if it's something where Rachel was kind of allowed to just tell people right away, why wouldn't she tell people right away? Unless it's something
Unless
that,
it's a power she
unless
doesn't
it's-
want anyone to know.
unless it's a power, or unless it's something that she's really worried is just going to put her target on her back for some completely random reason. And okay, so we'll back up a little bit here. So Big Brother has this after show Unlocked that I know not everybody watched. You know, it's hosted by Taylor and Derek, and they did this thing on this first episode where they were like, okay, you can vote on somebody to get gooed in the house, which to everyone who watched Nickelodeon growing up, people got slimed all the time. And so it was this
Or
slime
you
vote.
can't do that on television, for those of you who watched that before Nickelodeon was really around.
Yeah, see, my generation, it's all about figure it out with Summer Sanders and the big head and people getting slimed left and right. But so Rachel ended up getting slimed, which I think this is just, whether it's casuals voting on Unlocked or everybody just knows Rachel, you just vote Rachel kind of by default. This happens. She's also voted as like the worst dressed person in the game, which I really just think it's because they put those little edits on the show of Jimmy mocking her for her fashion sense. Like, I don't think it's anything serious.
Mhm.
She gets this golden envelope. Feeds were down for a good while today, and for that, production. This is no disrespect to Taylor, who I really like, or Derek, who, you know, you've grown on me a little bit since 16. You're still not my favorite.
Team Derek.
Okay, you can
I
be
like
Team Derek.
Derek. Listen, I know he's not exciting TV, but he played the game really well, and I just watched him on Traders. He's so good.
Okay, Derek on Traders started to turn me around a little bit on Derek. I will say that, but it's just, we don't need feeds to be going down for this long for Unlocked. I'm sorry. It's just, it's not something that matters enough to me that I'm going to be like losing feeds, things I really, really care about, especially in this instance where my tinfoil hat on it right now is just that it's like, okay, Rachel, you were voted worst dressed. Here is $1,000 shopping spree so you can go and get better clothing for yourself down the road.
Yeah.
It's just, I think a power, like you said, I think it's in play. For me, though, I will be beyond mad if this is a power. And it's not because Rachel has it. It's because you told people they were voting on one thing and then they're getting something else. It would be like telling us, okay, you're going to be voting on pizza or sandwiches. And then they come and then they bring us pasta. And it's like, this is not what I voted for. Why am I getting pasta?
Expect the unexpected, even if you're, part of America. I don't think that they would do something like that. But you never know. They could very well do something like that, where it's like pizza means, one type of power, and maybe ice cream means money or something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep my sanity and move forward, assuming this is not a big deal, but it's still something that, we all have to have collectively in the back of our minds.
It's also possible that, everyone got to vote on a very specific thing that we knew about, but then we didn't know that there was like an extra envelope inside. There's extra something
It's
inside.
like a hidden immunity idol that's been stuck in an envelope that Rachel found.
Yeah, that we don't get to vote on the power or anything like that, but we get to vote on the thing that's in the envelope.
I will say this, that if you're production, yeah, you probably want Jimmy to stay. And
Yes.
I want Jimmy to stay too, if I'm being totally honest, because he brings television. Like he's
Mhm.
trying to make things exciting. I mean, the crummy thing about where I'm sitting right now is that I do feel like Rylie is more than likely the person who's going to stay no matter what. And I would like to see him be evicted. I just can't figure out a way to have that happen. We're probably going to lose either Kelly or Jimmy in their own weird way. They both do bring decent television.
Yes, they do. They absolutely do. And we don't want a boring house. So we want Riley to go home.
Is there any way or shape or form that this can happen? But I guess this is an appropriate time to segue into the Rylie and Katherine of it all, because I will be honest. When the feeds went down a little bit earlier today, and they were down for a long time, like I know there were people online speculating it was because of the goo vote or whatever. A part of me did wonder, like, are they actually talking to Rylie about what's going on with him and Katherine? Like, are they doing something like that? Like, I didn't think they would remove him from the house over it yet, but it's just getting more and more uncomfortable. I think that's the best way to put it.
They're never going to remove somebody from the house for something like that. We've seen it a bunch of times on this show already. I've always wondered why production doesn't step in certain situations, like, we've seen it with violence, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when we're here in this type of situation where there's, this guy is super into this girl is not into him, or she probably would have kissed him, like, and she didn't. None of that has happened. And he's getting very much, I'll throw my game away for you. I'm going to propose to you on, finale night. Like, it's getting so uncomfortable and just creep show to watch that I'm trying to think about. I'm not a Katherine fan, but I'm actually trying to think about it from her perspective.
Yeah.
If I was in a house and I had a guy, I'm playing for so much money that I
Yeah.
really want to win, but I have a guy who's like just on me all the time. You can't just be like, leave me alone. I know there's a lot of people online that are like, she just needs to tell him to stop.
Yeah.
Then what happens to her? She ends up just getting voted out. Riley's mad at her, wants to get her out. She's blown her game because she said no. It's really unfair. And it's many times that this has happened to people in the house where they just are there to play the game. They're not here to be harassed, but that ends up what's happening. And production doesn't ever really step in to be like, you know what, Rylie, she's not into you. So, like, maybe back it off a little bit so that she can play the game as well. Because for the most part, it's so weird to say this, production doesn't want to interfere, but they kind of do because they always put in twists, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to just, I guess, things that happen in life, social dynamics, that type of stuff, they very rarely step in.
Yeah, I think it would take it getting to a pretty extreme point at this point. And
They didn't even step in season 15, and there was stuff in there that they
I-
had to step in for, and they did not step in. They just gave Erin a finger wag at the end and was like, these are the things that you said. No, no, no. And now she's this massive YouTuber.
Listen, I pretend that never happened. I have just memory hold it because it makes me really angry.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, my read on this situation right now is just that, okay, it started like this latest round of really uncomfortableness. It started last night when Katherine did express like some gratitude to Rylie, where
Sure.
she was just sort of like, I recognize you did a lot for me. You made sure that I didn't go on the block. I'm
Yep.
really, really grateful to that. You're, spending time with you. It's some of my favorite time in the house. And she said some things to him that were unobjectively pretty nice. The problem with someone like Rylie is it's just, you give him an inch, he's going to take it to a mile. Like, this is where we get to the lingering around and, the cuddling, where for everything that you've said already, it's really hard if you're somebody like Katherine, where
Yes.
if a guy wants to cuddle with you and this guy is your number one ally, if you burn him, he's going to be really mad. Do you want
Yes.
to deal with the consequences of that? And like all of that stuff just puts her in a really tough position. Like, the biggest thing I can say though, for anyone out there who thinks that, oh, she might be into him, it's just that he asked her for a kiss yesterday and she wasn't having it. And to
Right.
me, it feels like if this was a case of like, oh, Katherine's just shy or she doesn't want to kiss on or something like that, you can always just say that. You can
Yes.
always just say something that makes your intentions clear when it comes to the relationship that you're in. But she didn't do that. Instead, her getting out of situations, she often kind of tries to find like an excuse in her mind of, oh, I need to use the bathroom, or oh, I need to do this, or like something to get away. And yeah, then it all culminates. It gets even worse this morning when she does, as you said, the whole, oh, maybe I'll propose to you on finale night, which is just both highly uncomfortable and creepy, but also one of the most cringeworthy things possible in this situation. Yeah, we've seen it before, but we've seen it with people who are in an actual showmance, and this has never been that.
Yeah, I mean, even away from the show, people in general, women especially, are in this situation a lot where they don't know what to say or don't have the confidence to say no or are worried about the consequences of saying no or I don't want to kiss you or stop or
Yeah.
whatever. And then it turns into a really bad situation. So we look for other reasons to be able to escape. I have to go to the bathroom. I got to
Yeah.
pick up whatever, my dog. I got to do whatever to just get away from the situation. This is definitely a thing that happens in society all the time. And I imagine that being on a show where you're
Mhm.
competing for a huge amount of money makes it tremendously different. There's nowhere for her to go. She can be like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. And he'll just be waiting outside the bathroom. There is no, I'm trying to just go home to walk my dog.
It's really, really hard. And it's a situation where like the only reason at the current state of things where I could see production saying something is if Katherine tells production to say something. But then if that situation happens, then Riley's
It's the
gonna be
same
like,
thing.
yeah, like why is production saying
Right.
something? Did you make them do this? It's
That's
just
right.
it would tank her game. And I don't think production wants to tank her game. Like Katherine may not be anybody's favorite player. She may not be the best television in the world here, but at the same time, it's just really hard watching someone like her who I feel like is not really getting to play a full game. I mean, maybe
Nope.
she would just still be kind of unlikable and a little bit of an ice queen regardless, but it's just like we don't know because we don't get that opportunity. And we're probably not getting that opportunity this week either.
Yeah, not unless Riley goes, because he has, insinuated that he's her voice and that she doesn't really have a voice and
Yeah.
that he's, white knighting her and just doing everything for her and she can just, sit there and look pretty kind of thing. It's all very bad.
The uncomfortable reality here is that there are comparisons between all of this and obviously Beast Mode Cowboy and Amber.
Right.
Caleb went really far on his season. I think I could easily see Riley going pretty far for that same reason, where it's just like he's kind of blunt. You know where he stands on some things, and he's probably not going to win. So he's a number that you can string along for a while if you're certain people and you feel like he's always going to be loyal to you. So like that is the sad face picture
Yep.
that's just where we are right now. I mean, we'll see if anything changes on it.
Yeah.
But okay, so we've gone through all of that, but now we need to have our conversation about Ashley, because Ashley is becoming an incredibly fascinating person to me.
Yeah.
Because strategically, in terms of the game, I actually think, and I would have never said this week one, I think she's the most improved person in the house. It's like her reads on people are actually getting really good. Like she talked to Jimmy and she's able to identify and clock all these like final threes and final
Mhm.
fours that Vince and Zach are in. Like she's really getting aware and good at the game, and that just from that vantage point alone.
But she's still socially kind of cacking it all up.
This is the problem. It's that, okay, so we'll start here with Ashley and Mickey. And like after the veto ceremony and in the hours that transpired, even last night, it's like they're having conversations and like Ashley's laying it on thick and insinuating that Mickey made this questionable move to put Jimmy up on the block and sort of making Mickey feel bad on some level just by the way she's behaving. And
Mhm.
it's like, Ashley, from a television perspective, I love that you can't hide how you feel sometimes, but
She's fun in that way.
she's really fun in that way. But it's just from a game standpoint, people want to hear that they're doing a good job. And it's just that Mickey has gotten very annoyed with her because she feels like Ashley is now ungrateful because Mickey did all these things for you. I mean, I guess she did some to keep from her going on the block last week. And now Ashley's questioning her choices and talking up all this that Ashley now needs to be humbled. And it's just like part of this is Mickey's problem because Mickey has developed a surprisingly big case of HOH-itis this week.
Mhm.
if you would have told me that Mickey would have more HOH-itis than Jimmy did during his HOH reign, I would have told you you were lying more than Jimmy has lied to Vince. I would have never believed it, and yet here we are.
Yep.
And so it's just Ashley's not making any inroads with the way that she handles that conversation.
Yeah.
And she can go and pass information along and be very, very good about that. Like she has sort of figured out that, okay, there was almost a vote flip on this past time. And
Right.
this is because Ava told her a little bit about what Zach and Vince were contemplating, because Zach and Vince talked to Ava right before the eviction about it, about, should we get rid of Will? So Ashley knows that information. Ashley then goes to Will, and then that's something that could try to build a little bit of trust with Will. Like, okay, Ashley, all of that is good. Now, here is the but, is that we get into this situation where Ashley just has this conversation late today with Ava, and she goes to Ava and she's just sort of like, so Ava, who do you think is at the top of the game? Just completely unprompted, like no build up to it really whatsoever.
She pulled a Kelly. Kelly is doing the same sort of thing and has put people in very weird situations by just asking them straight up gameplay stuff that you just don't ask, especially if you're not really close with somebody, like you're actually just sitting around kind of talking gameplay already.
Yeah.
But to just kind of throw it out there with someone you're not that close to, it's awkward for no reason.
It's really awkward.
But Ashley's been doing a lot of really awkward stuff like this all season long, especially with like pushing the showman's thing and all. Like she's been doing a lot of this already.
Yeah, and that's why she is such a hot and cold player where she'll do these things that I'm like, man, that's really smart. You're really good, Ashley. Like, she has said now that a lot of her flirting with Zach is to just keep her friends close and her enemies closer because she knows how dangerous he is. But it's like, yeah, you do all this and you clock these relationships, but then you have these, they're not confrontations, but you have these conversations with people who are very much trying to play the middle or trying to move to power. And that's Ava's game. Ava, to me, is a better version of what Lauren has done to a certain extent. I mean, Ava's just hasn't won HOH and hasn't been in that position, but she's got very close relationships, but she's pretty good at just sort of flocking to the numbers and making sure people who are in the numbers feel really, really good about her. So her response to Ashley in this moment is just like, what is this, 20 questions? Which for some reason made me think of Natasha Lyonne in Poker Face. I kind of think Ava's got a little bit of Charlie Cale in her.
I think so.
She's got the style. She's got a little bit of the voice. But
such a good show. If you guys aren't watching Poker Face, it's great.
yeah, it's one of the best whodunits out there. And I think, Ava, if you're looking for a second career, that might be it. But it was just like, after that conversation, I was kind of curious, like, okay, what's Ava gonna do with some of this? Because, Ava is kind of sort of with Ashley, like they're on the same pseudo side of the house. But as it turns out, not really, because then she goes and she has this full conversation about what Ashley's doing with not just Mickey, but also Will. And so whatever goodwill that Will may have got from Ashley giving him information, it's just like, that's all gone. And now they're all just frustrated with Ashley.
Ashley, you've been on a journey. You really are improved in some ways, but your social game is still just in the toilet. Like you really have to figure out who you can talk to and who you can't. And the way that you talk to people, just the whole Ava thing and just going up and blurting this out. It's not helpful to you. No one's going to feel good about it. You've watched Kelly do it. Kelly's doing it to everyone and she's on the block every single week.
Yeah, she just hasn't picked up on that stuff for whatever reason, or it's just her personality and she doesn't want to compromise it, which I understand in life.
Absolutely.
But in Big Brother, you kind of
tough.
have to do it a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
you do.
This will make you a fan favorite, Ashley. I will give you that. A lot of people are digging Ashley. I am too, as entertainment, but it's just like, you got to know when to dial some things back, especially because in the light of all of this, and Jimmy also being on the block, it kind of does feel like we're inching towards this situation where, maybe Jimmy does win the blockbuster. He's certainly confident about it. But if he does end up going, like, Rachel and Ashley are looking more and more like the perceived bottom of the house now, because all these numbers are flocking to this other point, because it's just like, if I'm not in danger right now, that's fine. There is a lot of scared play. There is a lot of, I want to just make the jury, and if I make the jury, maybe I can be more aggressive. And yeah, that's a little bit frustrating, but it's where we are.
Yeah, playing for jury, don't like.
No, it's never good. It's never been that fun, but it's also one of these situations where if you are Rachel at this point, you also kind of have to be careful with how you hold your tongue and what you say to certain people. This goes back to she's still having arguments with Keanu. Like they had an argument yesterday about, can you lift weights while you're pregnant? And it was off feeds. We don't know who started it. It's hard to know how it all escalated, but it's just like, Rachel, I mean, you're coming from a perspective where you think that you're right. Keanu's coming from a perspective where he's a personal trainer. He probably feels like he has the answers on this. It's just, what good is having this argument for either one of you? It's like the more you sort of do things that are going to make yourself annoying to another person, it's like the bigger problem it is. Like, even if you don't believe what Keanu is saying is true, and I know this is hard, you have to just kind of move forward a little bit because you're in danger and you need to find a way. And I know it's hard with Keanu even to pull him over to your side.
And I think the answer to that question, anyways, is it's in the middle and it depends, right?
Yes.
Like you've got Rachel who has kids and has been pregnant. It's like you can't lift weights. You have a personal trainer. It's like I have pregnant women who are working with me with weights, probably, lighter weights, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I have not been pregnant. I am not a physical trainer.
Yes.
But feels like it's somewhere in the middle, depending on your pregnancy and what you're able to do at that time and what is okay and what is not. That's where I land in it, as not being either of those things.
And I think that is probably the truth. I think Keanu, and it's not often I will defend Keanu's arguments, but I will say with this one, it's kind of his job. And if he's not saying and defending what he's doing with his clients will probably be like, do you not know what you're doing?
That's
and
right.
It's like, that's a huge problem for him outside the game. But the actual like strategic implications of all this stuff is it's just more fuel to the fire for Keanu, who probably didn't need more fuel. That it's like, okay, he's probably going to go after Ashley or Rachel anyway. And the weird thing is that Keanu, somewhat through his own merit of his conversations with Morgan and Mickey, somewhat through stumbling through luck, like he might not actually be a target next week now, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
But let's now get into your guy, Vince, Vince is in a really fascinating spot where he is becoming more and more transfixed on Rachel as the days go on. He's acutely aware of all this stuff that's being said about him.
Yeah.
But he's also getting really nervous, and he's also getting really afraid because it is like there are all these seeds that are being planted against him, not just by Rachel, but by other people too, like Ashley.
Yeah, but Rachel is somebody who has had tunnel vision on Vince for a little while now. He knows about it.
Yeah.
So I understand why he's starting to get really paranoid about it and feel really bothered about it. I mean, he's playing a pretty good game. And then you've got, Rachel in here who's won this game, who has clocked him and is targeting him.
So we're also in this position now where I'm starting to question, just because of all of the whispering about Vince. I'm kind of starting to be like, okay, who is still with Vince and who is not with Vince anymore? Because there was this conversation with Jimmy and Kelly where Jimmy was talking to Kelly and there was some speculation about, are they throwing Vince under the bus? And is Kelly throwing Vince under the bus? Like, is she actually still mad about Vince leaving her high and dry on this past vote? Because she has said that she's mad at Zach and she would like to target Zach over this. I actually thought that maybe Kelly really was turning against Vince for a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean, she could have, but she's never going to turn on Vince. I think Vince did a decent enough job apologizing about what had happened, talking through it with her, that Kelly feels, less clowned about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about the way you approach it. So, if Zach and her have just had no conversation, like she either needs to talk to him, he needs to talk to her, and they have to actually have a conversation. Because at this point, Kelly just feels clowned by Zach, but not by Vince, because Vince actually spoke to her.
You've thrown out the Tyler comparison before with Vince, and I think it's a very good comparison because I know Tyler lost, but the thing that Tyler was really great at for a very, very long time was making a lot of different people feel like, okay, he's got my best interest at heart. And that's a really, really great thing until you get to the end and a lot of people are mad, but it's
really hard because like with Tyler, all of his I'm your number one all made it to the end. So that makes it really hard, right? Vince is doing a pretty good job at it as well, but we have seen it work before, like last season of Survivor.
Yeah.
Kyle had all these like very close relationships with everyone. You're my number one, you're my number one, you're my number one, and he won.
Yeah, and this is why it's really hard for Jimmy to find the numbers, because Keanu is still, I mean, we have Vince here who's really like massaging things with Kelly and making Kelly feel okay. You know, Keanu's got a little bit of distrust, but he's still working with Keanu. There's Morgan, there's Mickey, there's Lauren, there's like all these different people he sort of has these individual relationships with, and then he has these group relationships with. But here is where some of the anti-Vince sentiment is taking us, and that is Will and Ava starting to be like, is this guy really unemployed? Is he pulling one on us because he's too smart for this?
Yeah, but he can be smart and be unemployed. Now, I haven't been on BB Twitter. I'm not on Twitter or anything like that with everybody who's like detectiving, trying to figure out, why is he unemployed? What's going on? Is he just, sitting at home? Was he in some sort of relationship and now he's lost it and he's got to be back at home? Whatever it is. Because people are unemployed for all kinds of reasons. And for me right now, I don't know why he's unemployed, but being unemployed doesn't mean you're stupid.
No, it doesn't. It's just, I think they're all been in the house a long time now, and we're starting to reach the point where you start to second guess and wonder just about everything. We do have people lying about their jobs in
That's
there.
right.
Like, I understand some of the suspicion. I just think it's the longer that Vince goes unchecked in the game, and the longer that there are people suspicious of him still around, like, the more and more things are gonna spiral about some of this. And I hate to say that Big Brother is all about comp wins, because it's not, but
no,
we are in a spot right now though where there's probably a wall comp coming either this week or next week or in the near future. Like, you need one of these people to really win it if you want to upset the equilibrium of the house. And it's like, of the underdogs right now, I mean, Rachel and Ashley, maybe they have a chance, maybe Ava has a chance, but then I look over at like Vince or Morgan, who is like a track athlete. It's like they got people on that side too.
Yeah, they do.
So like the most dominant part of the house right now is probably the group of Lauren, Morgan, Mickey, Zach, and Vince. It seems like they've got the most tentacles everywhere. There's still plenty of time though for that to change. One last thing though I will say here about, is he our guy Keanu now? Like, where are you with Keanu at this point?
Yeah, he's my guy.
All right.
Listen, I think he's a nice guy. Like, I don't think he's got great gameplay.
No.
But there are so many people this season. This is the season of just trash gameplay, but messy house. And for me, we've talked about this before. We're not big game bots. Like, we enjoy some strategy, of course. The really big legendary players that are really good at strategy this game. Of course, that's really fun to watch. But that's not this season. We were talking about this in the last video. For me, Vince feels like the only person that is the really good strategist in this game. And I've been kind of like, is it because he's really good, or is it because he's playing in a house full of clowns that are just unable to really play this game properly? Who knows, But I am back with Keanu. Because everybody's just not a good player this season.
So that's just really
but
the thing.
He just seems like a nice guy.
We all need to have a train wreck to root for time to time, and Keanu is that train wreck. I mean, yeah, I do want the winner ultimately to hopefully be someone who's played a little bit more, but like, I do like having him around, and it seems like Morgan is now starting to think about, should we keep Keanu around? Because as long as he's there, maybe Rachel will just go after him, which I understand why you would think that way, but I also kind of feel like if Rachel does get into power, Rachel's going to be smart enough to realize, yeah, I may not like Keanu, I may argue with him sometimes, but it's just like, getting rid of Keanu's not going to upset the balance of power in the house.
No, she's going to go after Vince.
Yes.
She wants Vince out. Vince is it.
All right. Well,
I just don't know if she's going to end up having the votes to actually get him out.
I don't know, but that's kind of what I want to see. It's sort of like when Vanessa was in trouble on season 17. And it's like, if you are a really good legendary player, you should be able to get yourself out of impossible situations. Like, that's why we all love Dan. That's why we gave Vanessa flowers. So if Vince is ever there, I want to see it. But that is our edition of Big Brother 27 live feed spoilers for today. Do you guys think that Jimmy has any sort of chance? Like, what do you think he should do? let us know, hit that subscribe button, and yeah, support us further by joining our Patreon. That link is in the description. Thank you so much. We will see you here next time.